Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be pitching in my opinion as to why archaic aspects of World of Tanks prevent wargaming from being able to balance it. You're today looking at the E25. This is a tier 7 German tank destroyer that comes from an age when tank destroyers had a class-based bonus inside the game. They lost less camo after firing than all of the other tanks in the game, and this was deemed to be overpowered, toxic for the game, so they removed it on all of the tank destroyers, apart from, you guessed it, the premium ones. And back then, there weren't any premium tank destroyers, apart from the E25, so this one has retained that overpowered class-based bonus. And this is, in essence, why Wargaming are in some ways powerless to be able to develop their game right now. Everyone who watched my video a year or 2 years ago, however long Crew 2.0 has been going into the game, it feels like it's been a long time, will remember that I showed what one of the crew skills that Wargaming was suggesting, I think it was called Commando, where tanks lost camo rating after they fired, affected the E25 to a point where they could get within like 250 meters of tanks and be able to shoot them. Now that's at high tier. However, what I'd like to show you in this video is this still exists towards the mid tiers. And considering that the E25 has preferential matchmaking, this is actually as bad of a matchup as you could possibly have for this tank, as it never has to meet tier 9. The problem is that when you lose less camo rating after firing, it means that all of the other aspects that you can add into World of Tanks, in this case a camo net, and also one of the field mods that Wargaming added, where this vehicle, yeah, you guessed it, loses less camo rating after firing, means that you can get to 26 or 27% camo while you're firing. And if you can get to 26 or 20% camo while you're firing, even if you're 253 meters away from a KV2, they can't see you. And this just looks ridiculous. Just to clarify, this isn't because like I'm in a bush. You can see that clearly I'm so far in forwards and not behind the bush that the bush is not affecting my camo rating. What is happening right now is the camo net combined with the overpowered mechanics this vehicle has, with Wargaming's field mod that they added onto this tank, which was insane to add, means that I can just sit in one position and it just becomes like a skill-less point-and-click adventure. Now, this is nothing new. This isn't something that Wargaming have added. This is something that's always been possible on the E25, and I 3-marked this vehicle earlier this year playing in this way. And if you want to see that video, then it's on this channel. I'll link it in the comments down below. I think I called the video like 3-marking the cockroach, and that's pretty much because this thing is. It's a blight on World of Tanks with the statistics that it has. So now I want to get onto the meat of the matter of this video, and that's not showing just the E25 is overpowered. It's talking about why a tank like the E25 prevents Wargaming from being able to develop their game. So Wargaming, as you may know, with update 1.26, are adding in a whole host of crew skills into the game. And we've seen with Wargaming adding in new equipment, new field mods, now new crew skills, that they're clearly wanting to add layers and layers and layers of extra things into the game to allow you to either customize your vehicles in a way that you want to, or just be able to get more powerful as the power creep just goes up and up and up and up as the game kind of enters its next decade of life, right? Now, the issue with this is that when you have tanks that clearly break the system, like the E25, it actually prevents you from being able to add things. So Wargaming's solution to Crew 2.0 and the concealment crew skill that they were going to add in was that they just had to remove it. Honestly, that crew skill, it wouldn't have been that overpowered on other tanks, but because you've got one vehicle inside the game that Wargaming refused to adjust, you can't have new things going inside the game. So when you've got vehicles like the ELC even 90 with ridiculous camo rating that can be able to pump that up even further, and God forbid people are going to be putting bond exhausts on their ELC even 90 soon from being able to unlock it inside Onslaught, so the best players playing the sweaty competitive game modes that not everybody wants to play are now going to take their premium tanks, put their newfangled rewards on, and be able to have absolutely insane camo inside the random queue, just playing against the common average Joe who's just trying to be able to survive inside the World of Tanks battlefield. I digress, that could be a whole extra video in itself. It's just these layers and layers of advantages that Wargaming put in, but also that they figured out, A, they can't because that's going to be too far and it's going to break the game. Not because of like 95, 99% of the tanks, but because of kind of like the toxic 1 to 5% that Wargaming refuse to nerf. And that, in essence, is the big thing that prevents Wargaming from being able to balance their game. that either they have legal issues or they have monetization issues, that somebody there is saying, we can't nerf that because we're going to make players who paid for it unhappy. Or we can't nerf that because we're going to get sued. And this paralyzes Wargaming to add new features into the game, or to be able to just continue to develop it, or God forbid actually balance their game, so that people who play towards the mid-tiers don't have a sweaty scrub lord like me setting their E25 up like this. This is just regular equipment, by the way. It's not Bond equipment. Imagine if we had a Bond camo net inside the game, as to what then the E25 could be able to achieve. So unfortunately, my camping has been pushed out of position here from the CC56. But luckily, this game is hopefully looking like a formality. As long as this SU-100Y doesn't get me, he won't get me behind all of those fences and the walls, right? Guess he does. Nevertheless, it's still a monster game. I mean, what? We're 6 minutes in. We managed to pick up 6,500 combined that we saw, including 5,000 damage. I was getting a little bit nervous. I was running low on ammo there. But look, Wargaming's impotence at being able to nerf overpowered or toxic tanks with mechanics that they realized were broken 10 years ago, and they removed from every single tank in the game apart from a premium one because they were worried at what it would do to their profit margins or how it would hurt the feelings of some of their paying customers. 10 years later are now preventing them from being able to develop their game, to add in new features, and to perhaps make all of the other customers who don't have the E25 happier, or God forbid, improve the state of their game to allow new players to enjoy playing their way up it. And so I don't know what Wargaming has to do. Wargaming know their legal department. They know everything better than an idiot like me could, or the possibility of them being sued because of adjusting the statistics of a tank. But Wargaming, if anyone listens to this, please, look at what you did with the 279E. Look at what you did with the Chieftain. You nerfed those tanks. They're still good. I don't see anybody crying about it. It has made tier 10 so much better. It's gone from where you felt like you were a blight on your team, you were a hindrance playing any tier 10 heavy tank, to it now being that you can actually go out and play whatever you want. I think the same could be would happen if they were to have the confidence to nerf some of their vehicles. Sure, maybe some angry guy in America is going to go and sue Wargaming, and they'll settle, and they'll have to pay them like their account's worth, whatever. Give them $1,000. Maybe that'll happen. A few people. Maybe they have to lose 100,000. Maybe they have to lose 1 million. It's only going to happen the first time, most likely, because as soon as those people are kind of filtered out, then hopefully there isn't going to... All I'm saying is, put aside a budget to account for people who frankly just don't want this game to evolve, who don't want this game to improve, because they purely want to sit there with an overpowered tank that they feel that they paid €10 for 10 years ago, and so it should still prevent the game from going forwards in 2024. Put some money aside if those players do decide that they want to have a go at you, or put some money aside for the financial loss that you'll have from players like that because they won't purchase anything going forwards. And just think of the benefit that would happen from being able to actually develop the game going forwards, to actually balance the game going forwards, and to think of all of the new opportunities for mechanics that could be added that wouldn't actually break the game if it wasn't for toxic, untouchable tanks like this. I guess one of the other solutions is that there could be a soft cap introduced into World of Tanks. And while I don't think soft caps are very good inside the gaming world, they're kind of annoying because you think, oh, I should be able to get the same amount depending on what gear I put on all of the different aspects of my character, or in this case, of my vehicle, of my tank. But maybe Wargaming could just make it so that you can't get above 25% camo while firing. And that would mean that the E25 could invest its statistics into other areas. So instead of taking a camo net to be able to improve its camo rating when it fires, maybe it could take an exhaust instead, and it would just have better camo while it's moving, and even while it's firing while it's moving, compared to when it's set up its camouflage net. Or maybe people are just not going to take the field mod that actually reduces the view range of this vehicle and be able to invest the statistics in other areas. So a soft cap could be a solution for Wargaming to be able to make sure that tanks can't turn their statistics toxic inside the game. If they absolutely, utterly just can't do the right thing, which is to take a small financial hit or take a reputation hit with some of the whales to be able to improve the game for the other like 99% of players. And until Wargaming finds a way or has that confidence within themselves to continue the excellent work that they did last year with the 2790 and the Chieftain, then yeah, we're going to have scrublords like me doing 7,000 combined in an E25 within 6 minutes of the vehicle being alive with nearly 2,000 base experience. Now, was this because I was a great player? Not entirely. It was because I knew the game mechanics. I knew that the E25 is overpowered because they didn't nerf it with all of the other tank destroyers back in the day. And the more that Wargaming add in layers and layers and layers of adjustments like this one, ejector tuning, which actually improves the concealment of your vehicle by 6% after firing, which is just absolutely bonkers on the E25, then Wargaming just really don't have options to be able to add funky things into the game. And what we're about to see, what's going to happen in the next update, update 1.26 with Crew 2.0, while we have done extensive testing on the test server and Wargaming have definitely improved the system from what it was like a couple of years ago. I'm sure there are going to be some funky builds coming out to a World of Tanks near you. And so the final word of this video, Wargaming, look what you did with the 2790 and the Chieftain. Look how well it's been received by the player base. Please take it a step further. Empower yourself to nerf aspects of premium tanks or any tanks, tech tree tanks that are toxic to the game. Regain that power to then possibly be able to sell them in the future. I'm looking at you, BZ176. All that Wargaming has with this lack of confidence or the inability to be able to nerf premium tanks is just lost assets. They can't sell the BZ176 because it's overpowered, so they can't make money from it. If they were to have the confidence to nerf the BZ176, they might lose a little bit from being sued. They might lose a little bit of players who bought it back in the day. Wah. But then they'll be able to market it to other players and to make profit of an unused asset that's just a blight on the game. So this is just, it's kind of the Rubicon of World of Tanks in a way. And I know how much that word is loved to be said around here. But Wargaming still, 10 years later, are just unwilling to make that push, once again with premium tanks, to cross the threshold. And I honestly, in every part of my soul, think that crossing that threshold and nerfing premium tanks would not only create whole new opportunities for possible mechanics, especially with the new crew system, but also a significant amount of confidence in the player base that Wargaming is sometimes willing to do things that might make them lose a little bit of money if it's going to be for the health of the game. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was it for today. Really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And if any of you, like me, have played World of Warcraft a little bit too much over the years, then if you've ever wanted to see me play WoW, I'm going to be playing the World of Warcraft, The War Within, tonight for the launch. So come along on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby as I return to Azeroth 20 years later. So really looking forward to seeing you all now. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic and hopefully I'll see you soon.